Hi there, friends. This is Emily Windsor Craig, and it is Monday, the 26th of October, 2020. And for those of you who've been my subscribers for a while, you know what I do is pull in multiple disciplines and multiple sources and try to synthesize a whole picture based on the fact that our history has been tampered with, our sciences have been tampered with, academia has been tampered with, the church has been tampered with, the state has been tampered with, medicine has been tampered with, and the general populace is taught a program of doctrines and dogmas and fables and histories that don't wash, beginning with Lloyd Pye and human origins, and Jon Levi and Martin Leitke and Newearth, Sylvia. And so I've been trying to synthesize, pull all this together into a single view. And in doing that, there are a couple of technical channels that I also watch. One is Mr. BB3333, okay, and he's got the Schumann resonance and a lot of physical phenomena. And the other one is Dutchsinse, who at the present time is tracking earthquakes. And I have given you a link here to his latest discovery about the relationship between the rollout of high voltage, high power lines and how they relate to earthquakes, okay, around. And I relate that to what Jon Levi and Martin Leitke have shown us in the photographs and etchings and maps of the past, the extensive antiquitech that the Tartarians were utilizing over all of their buildings. They had power lines on every street and antennae on every building, and all of their gates were hooked up to the antiquitech, so you couldn't touch any gate or fence or you'd be electrocuted. They basically let electricity loose in their fabulous cities, and that was their security for the rich. Was everything was electrified so that the people couldn't come near them. But eventually, they began experiencing the earthquakes, and finally, the whole ground turned to liquid. And what Dutchsinse is pointing out is that the earthquakes are occurring, all of them, right along the high power lines and right along the power stations and right along the hydroelectric dams, so that we are creating a physical environment so electrified that our society is affecting the constituency of the actual ground that we walk on. There are hot spots all over the ground, all over the place, and in areas that you would not suspect, because as you know, the military industrial complex puts their secret operations out in the wilderness where you would think that there wouldn't be any problem with high voltage, high power lines. All right. And that's how Dutchsinse has tracked that there are these earthquakes out in the middle of nowhere, and they are right in the same vicinity within hundreds of yards or a mile of these high power facilities and the trunk lines that move power from here to there. And so our society is on a track of self-destruction, very similar to that of Tartaria. Tartaria misused their access to electric power, and we are doing the same, but in a different style, in a different method. Our power use is more confined to trunk lines, and it's confined within cables, whereas their power was totally loose. And eventually it took them out. and 5G, 6G is going to take us out. And the people, the high tech, the big tech people are Illuminati, and they know this. They know this. And the reason they're doing it anyway is because of a concept that I keep finding in the old books of a periodic harvest. There's the harvest of souls at the end of a dispensation. And so they can utilize the violation of laws of physics and electrics to create an event that satisfies the harvest at the end of the dispensation. It all works. It all works. And this is where high tech and the people who are covering for high tech, the social media are covering for high tech. I got disciplined today by Twitter for putting up a direct message to 6 individuals about a legal case. And I was shut down for 24 hours because high tech doesn't want these cases to be prosecuted. Got it? All right. High tech is where the genocidalists are, where the population reductionists are, where the abortionists are, where the polluters are. High tech with big money. Those are the people who, by their metaphysical and ET connections, are running our history against the people who work. And it's been going on this way for a long time. Right. And so, okay, we sit back and we say, all right, they're running their agenda. The high-tech Illuminati globalist smartasses. All right. And there has to be a karmic payback, a karmic blowback for what those high-tech people do to the rest of us. And that's what I'm praying for. Karmic blowback against the mercenary and relentless march of power violations, socially, in communication, with the censorship of honest and decent people trying to communicate. All right, there's going to be blowback for this. And our government is just as much a victim because our government is based on consent of the governed. The people in the government who are compartmentalized out of the knowledge of what high tech is doing within the boundaries of government. There are victims in the government also. And I think our President Trump is certainly a victim of the push to force power, force diseases and epidemics on population force bad food on populations through the Codex Alimentarius, force fluoride in the water on our populations. Okay, big tech is the devil here. And it's not, our government has big tech in it, but that's not what our government was supposed to be consisting of. And how this election is going to play out is hard to see, because at this point, if you look at this Dutchsinse video, that all the earthquakes that he mapped over 3 or 4 days were related to power lines and power generation stations and power this and power that. It's just a short matter of time until the rollout of 5G, amalgamating all those power sources, does something really serious. So I don't know how much time we have, and I don't know how that is going to affect the election, and how the election, as rigged as it is in California, totally rigged in California. The polls are not, the polls, most of the polls stations have been taken down. The few places that are supposed to be polls will not open until October 31st. Anybody who wants to vote now has to just put their vote in a drop box or a mailbox. And as we know from the news, drop boxes and mailboxes are subject to vandalism, stealing, dumping, fires, and so on. So if you vote before October 31st, wherein you actually get a physical receipt for your vote, you don't know where your vote's going. You don't know if it'll ever be counted. And that's California, and that's Gavin Newsom. And that's a blue governor for you. So we live in an age of great uncertainty. And what we do is we go inside and we connect to the universe, because what other human knows more than we do? Very few, right? So that's what I've discovered, that the whole plan for the reset of a dispensation comes from big tech top down, and we the people have almost no recourse. So we just make our plans and do the best we can. Thank you. Bye-bye.